it's Bev again. So I hope you appreciate these videos. It takes a bit of pre-planning to take fairly complex subject areas and simplify them. So I hope you appreciate the time and effort put into this. Anyway, today I want to talk about your metabolism and exercise. I'm going to throw some issues in about food as well. But suffice it to say, the key to controlling your overall weight and the amount of body fat that you're carrying around is your metabolism. But let's explore why that's true. So the first thing I want you to think about is engines, okay? Any engine requires fuel. Your car engine requires gas, right? And it requires a high octane gas. It doesn't want shitty gas leaving junk in the bottom of the fuel tank, right? So engines like fuel and they want high quality fuel. And what is the name of your body's engine? It is indeed your metabolism. And your metabolism as an engine needs fuel. And what it uses for fuel, that's the calories that you eat in a 24-hour period. So your engine is your metabolism. It requires high quality calories, just like your car engine wants high quality fuel. Okay, so we're talking here about your metabolic rate, which is your how efficient you are at burning the calories that you eat. Okay, and often these rates, you will have heard something called the basal metabolic rate and the resting metabolic rate. And some people say that they're the same, but they aren't necessarily the same. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, your basal or your basic metabolic rate is really the daily calories that you need in a 24-hour period just to be alive. Well, think about it. Your heart has to beat. You have to maintain your organs. You have respiration going on. Your heart is beating. You've got cell membranes. All this stuff is going on. Not even while you're doing anything about it. Your body needs a certain number of calories and it needs a metabolic rate to keep you alive, and that's called your BMR. On the other side is your resting metabolic rate, and that involves the daily calories needed while you're at rest. And you probably are thinking, well, wait a minute, Bev, what the heck is the difference? Your resting metabolic rate. Let's take me sitting on a couch reading a book, okay? And I've got two guys, right? There's a guy over here who's a power lifter, big guy. I call them those no neck, thick neck guys. Oh, right here. And over here is a guy who never exercises, right? And we're all reading the same book for the same length of time. Hopefully, it's my book. But anyway, I have a particular resting metabolic rate, and I've made it pretty good. I eat pretty well, I exercise. But this guy, this power lifter, believe me, his resting metabolic rate is going to be better than mine. And this guy on this side, his is going to be nothing like mine. It means I'm going to burn a certain number of calories in that hour. This guy's going to burn a lot more calories than me, and this guy isn't going to burn as many as me, okay? Even if, anyway, let's talk about how to change this. How did that power lifter change it? How did I change mine? And why isn't this guy changing his, okay? So the first thing is your resting metabolic rate is actually made up of three parts. The first, of course, has to be your basal metabolic rate, right? And that will be 70% of your daily caloric intake will be involved in your basal metabolic rate. The food that you eat, the thermal energy to digest that food will involve 10% of the calories that you need. And I'll explain what that is in a minute. But the third factor is the physical activity that you do, and that's the remaining 20%. So your resting metabolic rate deals with your BMR, the food that you eat, and the physical exercise that you get. Now, you can't really do too much about your basal metabolic rate, right? You can do something about your physical activity, and I'll talk about weight training in particular because that's what I do and that's what this guy does and what this guy doesn't do. You're going to change your muscle to fat ratio. As you lift weights, you're going to build more muscle, you're going to lose more body fat. And so with weight training, it'll burn up some calories, right? Over here, I just want to mention about the thermal energy needed to digest food. It's a really interesting concept. You have protein, carbs, and fats, and they all require a certain amount of energy just to break them up into amino acids, glucose, or fatty acids, okay? And the interesting thing is protein is the most inefficient. That is, it takes the most calories to convert that protein into amino acids. In fact, 25% of the calories. So for example, if you're eating 400 calories of protein, 100 calories of that 400 is going to be used just to break it into amino acids. And for carbs and fats, it's far less. It's only 5%. So that means that carbs are very efficiently digested, especially sugar and bread and those kinds of fast to sugar carbs compared to fibrous veggies, and fats are 5%. So if you eat a lot of protein, you're going to fire up this metabolism because you've got to use a lot of calories to digest that protein. And if you eat 5 or 6 meals a day, you're firing up your metabolism a lot, especially if you throw protein into all of those 5 or 6 meals. So the physical activity is interesting. Because you're building more muscle, technically it will affect your basal metabolic rate a little bit because you've got more muscle to maintain. But it is going to affect your resting metabolic rate because and I've talked about this in other videos, EPOC and DOMS. EPOC is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, and DOMS is delayed onset muscle soreness. You don't feel EPOC, you do feel DOMS, but you've heard this. People say, oh, when you lift weights, when you leave the gym, you're still burning calories. Yes, that's because of these issues here going on. So physical activity with weight training will affect RMR very, very directly. And these things can last 1 to 4 days, right? And isn't it great to think you can burn extra calories by weight training? And you can do it while you're on the floor and continue to do it after you've left the gym just because of this. And by eating more meals and eating more protein, you can do this as well. I think I'm going to use myself as an example here. Now, I don't count calories myself, but I'm going to talk about calories in terms of the metabolism because metabolism is all about burning calories, right? These rates. And for me, I just kind of look at my plate. I know how much protein and how many veggies and all that kind of thing that I'm eating, so I don't count calories. But my basal metabolic rate is 1,200 calories. So you can figure yours out. If you go online, you put in your height, your age, your activity, your weight, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, my BMR is 1,200 calories in a 24-hour period. Now I know what I eat in terms of protein, carbs, and fats. And when I consider the efficiency or inefficiency of any of these, and I add it up, it's about 208 calories. I'm just going to say 200 for the food that I eat. And my weight training is It depends, but I'm going to average it out at about 250 calories in 1 hour of weight training. So if I add up those three, 1200, 200, and 250, I get a total of 1650 calories a day that I can eat and maintain my weight. Okay? If I want to lose weight, I have to eat less than 1650 calories a day. If I want to gain weight, I have to eat more than 1650 calories a day. And you might wonder, well, why the heck would you want to gain weight? Well, think of the power lifter. He wants to gain muscle. So he plays around with his food. He eats a hell of a lot of protein, and maybe he takes his carbs down to 20% or something. So he's going to play around here. He's going to do a lot more weightlifting than I do. He's going to lift a lot more weight than me, compared to my weight or compared to his body weight. And so he's going to increase this by quite a bit. Okay. If I eat less than 1650 and higher than 1200, I'm going to lose weight. Okay? Never, ever go below your basal metabolic rate. You see these diets, crazy diets, 500 calories a day, 800 calories a day. When you are below what you need to be alive, to keep your organs going nicely, efficiently, your body panics. In fact, it goes into what's a kind of a starvation mode. So it begins to retain body fat and it begins to lose muscle. I mean, if you're not eating enough, it figures, well, what the hell? Why should I keep all this muscle? I don't have enough calories to maintain it. So it makes some biochemical decisions, okay? So what happens is you're going to lose a bunch of muscle tissue and you're going to increase your body fat percentage. So never go below 12, for me anyway, below 1200. And whatever your basal metabolic rate, don't drop below. So I would say if I go down to about 1300, 1200 to 1300, I'll lose as much as 1 to 2 pounds a week. And that is why that is sustainable. When you're losing 10 pounds a week, no, it's not sustainable. It's starvation to your body. So just saying, okay? Watch what you eat and do some exercise. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.